Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we are embarking on a truly wild journey into the very thing you're using to understand my words right now. Yep, your own mind. We're going to dive deep into the strange, the bizarre, and the utterly captivating psychological mysteries that are honestly still completely puzzling the world's top scientists today. Okay, I want you to picture something for a second. Imagine waking up tomorrow, going about your normal morning routine, and suddenly you look at someone you deeply love and you literally cannot recognize your own mother's face, like at all. Or what about this one? Picture walking into your bedroom, a space you enter every single day, right? But suddenly you are struck with this overwhelming, almost eerie sensation that you have lived this exact moment in this exact way before. It's a super relatable feeling, isn't it? Well, think of today's explainer as kind of a tour through the haunted house of human cognition. We've got 7 mysteries on the docket today, and we'll be walking through different rooms to explore the absolute strangest quirks of the human brain. First up, let's step into the foyer, tricks of human memory. It is honestly fascinating how the memories we trust the absolute most to define who we are can actually be playing massive tricks on us. So let's go back to that bedroom scenario we just talked about. That is classic déjà vu. It's defined as the overwhelming feeling of having lived this exact present moment before. It's this fleeting, bizarre sensation that kind of bridges the gap between memory and reality. Honestly, it almost feels like a glitch in the matrix, right? Like the present moment accidentally routed through our memory center first. Now, instead of past life memories, neurologists actually suspect déjà vu is, well, a minor brain glitch. It might happen when incoming information basically bypasses your short-term memory and writes directly into your long-term memory. So it creates this fascinating neurological misfire, entirely tricking your brain into feeling like a brand new experience is actually an old, established memory. But because the mechanics remain so incredibly elusive, it's a live, unsolved puzzle happening right inside our heads. And that brings us to a comparison of 2 other totally mind-bending memory phenomena, false memories and the Mandela effect. See, on an individual level, memory isn't recorded like a video camera. It's reconstructed. That explains why individual eyewitnesses can sometimes be completely 100% mistaken. But on a group level, that's where we get the Mandela effect. This is where massive groups of people confidently remember things that just never happened, like believing the Monopoly Man has a monocle, or passionately arguing over the spelling of the Berenstain Bears. Scientists point to the way we socially reinforce shared associations to create a collective false memory. It's incredibly strange, sure, but it is just a quirk of human memory, definitely not evidence of alternate realities. All right, leaving the foyer, let's head down the hallway, blind spots in our awareness. Here, we're looking at the frankly shocking ways our brains simply fail to process the reality right in front of our eyes. One of the most famous examples of this is the invisible gorilla experiment. In this study, viewers were asked to focus really intensely on counting basketball passes between players on a screen. Because their attention was so heavily engaged, roughly half of the people completely failed to notice a person in a full gorilla suit walking right through the middle of the game, actively thumping their chest. I know, it sounds impossible, but it proves a startling concept called inattentional blindness. Basically, we literally only see what we are focused on, leaving gaping blind spots in our awareness. And this limitation extends to our social behavior too, through what's known as the bystander effect. Have you ever wondered why people sometimes fail to help in emergencies? Well, it's not actually because they don't care. If someone needs help in a large crowd, you might logically assume, hey, someone else has probably already called 911. Psychologists call this the diffusion of responsibility. Because the burden to act is shared among so many onlookers, individual action just freezes up. It's a blind spot, but one of social action rather than vision. Okay, escalating things even further, we are finally at the most intense part of our tour, the locked rooms. These are the severe glitches in waking reality that profoundly distort a person's conscious experience. Let's talk about sleep paralysis. This is a genuinely terrifying state where your mind completely wakes up, but your body remains entirely locked and unable to move. You are essentially trapped inside yourself, just hovering in this bizarre, helpless threshold between dreaming and waking reality. During this state, the brain's threat detection system often goes into total overdrive. And this is why people so commonly hallucinate a heavy, terrifying, sometimes even demonic presence sitting right on their chest. But scientifically speaking, researchers can actually demystify this. It's just a physiological lag.
See, when we sleep, our bodies induce a natural muscle paralysis called REM atonia, so we don't act out our dreams. Sleep paralysis simply happens when your brain regains consciousness before turning that physical paralysis off. Which brings us right back to that heartbreaking, chilling scenario I asked you to imagine at the very beginning of this explainer. It's called Capgras syndrome. It is a very rare, totally devastating condition where someone genuinely believes a beloved family member or friend has been replaced by an identical impostor. They look right at the person, perfectly recognize their features, but that deep emotional connection is entirely, inexplicably severed. So, what on earth causes this? Well, researchers believe it's almost like a literal wire has been cut in the brain. The visual pathway that recognizes faces becomes disconnected from the amygdala, which is your emotional center. So when the patient looks at their mother, they visually see her perfectly, but they feel absolutely zero emotional response. To resolve this impossible, deeply unsettling paradox, the brain rationalizes the unthinkable, basically concluding, if I feel no affection for this person who looks exactly like my mother, she must be an imposter. And now, we reach the exit, the unsolved mind. We've looked at everyday memory tricks like déjà vu, severe attention blind spots, and massive reality glitches like Capgras syndrome, and it's wild to think that it all stems from one single place. Just consider this for a second. 2%. The physical human brain makes up only about 2% of your entire body weight. It is incredibly small in the grand scheme of your physical form. Yet, that tiny 2% creates every single thought, memory, emotion, and decision you will ever experience. It is this brilliant, reality-generating engine. But, as we've seen today, it's also prone to incredible glitches, massive blind spots, and fascinating illusions. It truly, truly remains the ultimate frontier of scientific mystery. So, I want to leave you with this provocative question. Out of all of this, which of these 7 mysteries surprised you the most? Was it the reconstructed nature of false memories? The bizarre reality of Capgras syndrome? Tell us down in the comments, and please don't forget to subscribe for more fascinating explainer journeys into the human mind. Thanks so much for exploring with me today.